All right. Good morning. Welcome to another installment of what the streets have named Big Time Tuesday at the Bell Mines. Another Sarah Stevenson Tuesday Morning Forum, live from the Harvard Get Design Belmont Regional Center here at 700 Parkwood Avenue. We have been serving the Charlotte area for more than 50 years. I am facilitator Winston Robinson, along co-facilitators Ms. Laura McClellan, Ms. Carlinia Ivory Canty, Ms. Jackie Edwards Walton, Ms. Natalie McElrath, Ms. Mary Johnson, Mr. Shea Abdullah, Mr. Gary Young, Ms. Jasmine Wright, our chaplain, Ms. Aretha Sherrill, our website developer and archivist, Mr. Steve Johnston, and not here today is Dr. Thomas Moore, our house musician. Our forum runs from 8:30 to 9:45 a.m., at which we will pause for announcements from the audience. Announcements also can be sent to Steve at Johnston with a T, at TuesdayForumCharlotte.org. As we do every week, it is always tradition to begin the morning with a prayer, and we're honored to have a newcomer to Charlotte lead us in that prayer, Mr. Rollins Walker.
Good morning. Thank you guys for coming this morning. May we bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for this morning. Thank you for allowing us to wake up. Thank you for all the many blessings. Thank you for allowing us to come here and listen, to understand and elaborate. And thank you for these very fine people of Charlotte. And we thank you for all that you do. Amen.
Amen. Keep that mic, Mr. Walker. Give us about 15 seconds about yourself. Like I say, new to town from Atlanta. Tell us more.
I'm Rollins Walker. I just moved here in May. I'm the Commercial Government Fleet Sales Director for Mark Ficken Ford. So we deal with municipalities and customers and companies that have large fleet programs. So we provide the vehicles, police vehicles, trucks, and so forth. And so that's what I do, and thank you for allowing me to introduce myself and be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. If we have anybody with us for the first time and would like to acknowledge themselves or any affiliations, raise your hand. Come on now, we're looking at you. First time, come on, raise your hand. We're gonna get the mic to you. Again, introduce yourself, any acknowledgements you'd like to disclose.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Caleb Steele. I am a chaplain and I'm at UNC Charlotte, and I'm here to increase my civic engagement. We had a big conference this past weekend, and they talked about having more undergraduate brothers at meetings like this and increase our civic engagement locally. And so this is why I'm here today.
We started with I'm a Kappa before all.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Patrick Bona. I'm a senior finance and data science student at UNC Charlotte. I'm also a member of the Zeta Delta chapter at Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. We just wanted to come out, learn a little bit more about government from the local levels. Our goal was to get more civically engaged, as my brother said here. Just excited to be here, and thank you for having us.
Appreciate y'all joining. Shout out to the new coming in. Anyone else? With anyone else?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Julia Patton. This guy over here to my left is my dad. I know a lot of many people here know him, but this is my first time here. I've heard a lot about this community, about this being a room full of difference makers. And that's honestly why I want to be here, because I just stepped into a role here off of Tuckasegee Road on the west side, where my parents and grandparents honestly grew up, and I'm at the Not Whole Foundation. We're starting a new initiative for I'm the Girls in Sports Program Director. So we're serving underserved communities on the west side. And my role honestly is, yes, we're using softball and baseball as a pipeline to get to the students, but there's a lot of immediate need that needs to happen now. And these are the type of rooms that I grew up in with difference makers and people believing in me. So I want to be that vessel for them, knowing that, yes, you are an athlete, but you're much more than that. So honestly, I just want to be here just to learn more about this community and hopefully meet some new people.
Come on now. Welcome. That's amazing. Y'all join us again. You got one more?
Oh, hey, I'm Jason Stujanki. I'm with Channel 9, but I'm here today not as a reporter, just as a citizen, hoping to just listen and learn something. Thank you.
All right, Jason Stujanki. Come on. I'm not here as a reporter. Okay. I believe it. So they trying to sneak back in the corner.
My name is Kelvin Moore. I'm a community coordinator with CMPD's Eastway Division. I'm here also with a partner of mine, Officer TJ Worley, and our Captain Richard Nelson. We serve here in the Eastway Division, so Belmont is a part of our division. So we're just here again to be in presence, let you all know we're here to support the things you all are doing in the community. As a community coordinator, I serve as a liaison between the police department and our community stakeholders. Trying to take a lead on things like community engagement, quality of life issues, and crime management. And so that's a part of why we're here this morning. So thank you all for having us.
Nice. Appreciate it. Shout out to my cousin back there, TJ World. I ain't even know that was you. I ain't seen him since he was like 7. No, for real, I'm a real cousin. Nah. Shout out to his grandma Darlene. Come on. All right, so following our presentation, we will take questions from the audience. Oh, we got okay.
Hello, everyone. Norris McAdoo, local attorney here, North Charlotte, also candidate District 106. I'm just here to listen and be educated, so I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you.
Good to join us. Candidate. Kimberly Owens, congratulations. One of our newest members of Charlotte City Council, District 6. Congratulations. Matter of fact, let's just stand all elected officials. Let's just take a moment to recognize our public servants. Come on, man. Ms. Becky Carney.
Becky Carney, House District 102. Except for recording purposes. Good morning. I'm Representative Becky Carney, representing House District 102, and I'm here to enjoy the program. Thank you.
Go on, gotta get Judge Key. Cappers, look at that, look at this sweatshirt. See, that's how you level up into adulthood. You don't have to tell people, you just wear it on your shirt.
Good morning. I am honored and blessed to serve you as one of your 21 district court judges in Mecklenburg County. It is a people's court. It's probably the court that touches more people than anyone else in the community. So please come down and see what's going on in district court. And thank you, Chief Jennings, for your service. And yes.
Okay. All right. All right, y'all, so following our presentation, we will take questions from the audience. Please raise your hand and we will add your name to a list. I will call on your name in the list, in the order in which your name was added to said list. Questions should be no longer than 30 seconds. Responses initially should be no longer than 2 minutes. And as time expires, we'll cut that time down. Questions should be questions. The answer you receive is the answer you will have to accept. We do not go back and forth. We do not debate. We abide by the West Side Rules of Order, in which it is what it is. We have a timekeeper, Ms. Natalie McElrath, who will signal a 30-second warning, and if necessary, time's up when limits are met.
And then you'll get shot.
And then you talking in front of the police. That's crazy. I'm not, listen, I don't know what you got going on. You shoot him, not me. All right, but without further ado, we have former CMPD Chief Johnny Jennings, whose service as... Excuse me, I'm trying to get you on that fishing boat as soon as I can. My bad. We have current CMPD Chief Johnny Jennings, who's serving as the top law enforcement officer of our city in his decades of leadership and experience to public safety. Yes, we ask that we have a moment for silence. And as we take out the time to silence your phone and the notifications, well, let us know what crazy videos you're watching instead of paying attention. So silence the ringer as well as the notification. We're gonna take us 30 seconds to do that. Because if your phone goes off, guess what? We all know it's you. All right. So, without further ado, Chief Jennings, we ask that you take, how long, Ms. Natalie?
As long as he needs to.
As long as you need to introduce yourself before we get into questions.
Sounds good.
Fair game? All right, ladies and gentlemen, please, Chief Johnny Jennings.
Thank you. First of all, it's an honor to be here, and I appreciate you having me on this Veterans Day. Are there any veterans in the audience out here? Any veterans? Well, thank you all. Thank you for your service. I have to acknowledge my two young men, students over here. Guys, I didn't have suits like that when I was in school, so I appreciate you being here. So what a good day it is. It's freezing outside compared to just recently coming off a 70-something degree temperature, but you know, God is good, and we're blessed to be in this great city. And I want to just kind of start out a little bit on how I got to where I am, and just take a few moments, but also leave plenty of time to do some question and answers. So some of you may have heard the story. I grew up in a very small town called Jefferson City, Tennessee. I think the population back then was about 30,000 people. And big time football city. If you've ever heard of Carson Newman College, Carson Newman was walking distance from my house. So my focus back then as a young athlete was to really engage myself into sports, and I knew that sports would be a ticket for me to move on and get out of this small city, because I always had a desire to move somewhere else because I knew there was so much more out there. And I eventually went to school and played football and graduated from high school and ended up going to Appalachian State University. Any Mountaineers in the house? Not a single Mountaineer. All right, well, we're cutting this short. I'm not done. So I went to Appalachian State, where I played football up there. Had an outstanding career and time playing football, but I always knew that I had to work just a little bit harder than everybody else. You know, we had guys that on our football team, they could roll out of bed and go run a 4.4 40-yard dash and just were super athletes. And I didn't have that gift. So I was one that always told myself that I'm going to work harder than anybody else. And that's where I kind of got that mentality, not of one, being competitive, but also understanding that you're going to get out of it what you put into it. As hard as you work, the more benefit you're going to get out of what you put that effort into. So my saying, and I've always kind of said it even up until now, that I will never stop being the best that I could be. And I always wanted to prove that, because if I do that, I'll never disappoint myself, whether I succeed or fail. If I put the biggest effort that I possibly can and have no regrets, then I'll be okay. And then I'll move on to the next thing. So as I finished up my football career in college at App State, eventually getting my master's degree at Pfeiffer, but I joined the police department because a friend of mine talked me into applying, not because I wanted to be a police officer. You hear a lot of stories about, yeah, I always had a dream of being a police officer or a public servant. That wasn't me. My dream was really, I wanted to be actually a postal inspector. And so that's why I got into criminal justice in school and found out how difficult it was to even get into the post office back in the early 90s. So just as I worked, in the meantime, I had worked in group homes. If you've ever heard of Lutheran Family Services, that was my first job out of college, and I worked in group homes with young kids, and found that to be extremely enlightening and very eye-opening for a young man coming out of Jefferson City, Tennessee. I'd never seen some of the issues that I had to deal with in the group homes. As I was talked into applying for the job, I never really thought I'd get a phone call. I never thought that they would have an interest in me, and it was literally within weeks that I received a phone call telling me that they were processing my application. They were going to start the background, and I believe I put my application in November or December of 1991, and then I started the academy in May of 1992, and still didn't really have my direction of what I wanted to do. Probably about year 2 or 3, I said, you know what, if I stay here, maybe if I retire, I can make captain one day. You know, I'd love to make captain and retire as a captain. And then probably about year 7, I realized I'm in it. I had some other opportunities I was looking at that I would go and try doing something else. But then I realized that after 7 years, my heart kind of grew to what I was doing. I was enjoying it. I loved coming to work every day, and decided I'm going to buckle down and I'm going to be here. And so my goal was always to be the best at whatever position that I was at. If I was in patrol, I want to be the best patrol officer. If I was in investigations, I'm going to be the best detective. And I always had that goal of doing that as a sergeant. I wanted to be the best sergeant out there. So as I moved up to the ranks, every rank that I received, I said, I could do the next one. I can do more. And if I really look at it, I really set my goals lower than what I was able to accomplish. And if I could go back, I would set that goal. But back in the early 90s, there weren't a lot of people at these higher ranks that looked like me. And I started thinking that, hey, captain might be my cap. That might be where as high as I can go. And if I can make that, and something in my mind was even telling me that, you know what, I'll be lucky to be a sergeant and retire as a sergeant. And I was okay with that because, but I was going to make that effort regardless. This job as being a police officer is the most noble and admirable job, one of the most noble and admirable jobs you can have out there. And we take our hits, but at the same time, I know there are a lot of really good men and women out there every single day that are out to keep us safe and to do their jobs the right way. And when you realize that and you're around that every single day, it makes your job easier, particularly as a supervisor. So as I continued to move on into the ranks, and I had a lot of really good special assignments and details that I was assigned to, and always took that as a huge challenge for me to continue to make our department the best that it can be, and also to make our city the best and the safest that it could be. And as I moved up the ranks and promoted to Chief Putney, who was the chief before me. He promoted me to deputy chief, and as I became the deputy chief, I started really thinking about retirement. Like I'm ready to retire and move on and do something else at some point, because my eligibility was coming up in 2020 to retire. And as I was ready to retire, I was summoned down to Greenville, South Carolina, where I was able to meet with the city manager and talked into getting into the process because they had a vacancy, a police vacancy there. And I was also going to put in for the chief of police vacancy here in Charlotte because Kerr Putney had announced his retirement. And Greenville, South Carolina did eventually offer me the chief of police job. As we were in the middle of the process for Charlotte, I finished up that process here in Charlotte, and then here I am with a problem that I think everybody would love to have, because I was offered both jobs. And a lot of prayer. I spent a couple of weeks deciding, what do I want to do, because I could literally retire, collect my pension, and then get another salary as a chief of police in Greenville. And if those of you don't know how that works, that's pretty lucrative to be able to retire. Then you have two jobs in one person. So we call it double dipping in the police world. So that was an opportunity that I really had to struggle with, but I determined that I couldn't. Instead of following the money, I need to follow my heart and follow the heart of my family. And my family, just like I do, really loves Charlotte. And we decided as a family that I would pass up on another career opportunity, another chapter, because to me, there is no bigger honor than finishing up as the top cop in the agency that you started with. And I am so humbled and proud to have had that role. And so I eventually called the city manager and I told him that I was going to accept the job in Charlotte. And then I had to call the city manager in Greenville and politely decline the offer for Greenville. And it wasn't but a few weeks later, after I accepted, as everybody remembers, after George Floyd and the riots and everything started moving over to Charlotte, and my first thought was, what have I done? what have I gotten into here? And it's funny because as I was being sworn in and becoming the next chief and kind of taking some of those roles over before I was even sworn in, I had a lot of people say, man, you picked the worst time to be the police chief. Mm-hmm. And my response did, no, I think I picked the best time to be the police chief, because I had in my mind the challenges prior to being sworn in of, we've had some great police chiefs, Darrell Stevens, Rodney Monroe, Kerr Putney, and how am I going to follow in that path of some of the work that they've done, and how I'm going to continue that. Well, when all of that started happening with the civil unrest across the country, I realized that, hey, this is a new challenge. This is something different that we have to look at things differently. I can't now look at what the prior chiefs did and try to build on that. I have to wipe the slate clean, and we have to start over. And we have to start figuring out how do everything that they have done to build relationships with our community seemed like it was erased and wiped away. And so now it's almost a building that's been torn down, and you have to start from scratch and start that foundation and build it up and build it up and build it up. And that was exciting to me. It was exciting to think that this is on me now, that we can start from scratch and build a brand new house and build it better than even it was before. So we started a lot of work. I literally, that first year, didn't know I was gonna make it. I said, I don't know how, I could have retired and be sitting at home fishing. Did you know I like to fish, or did you just say that? Somebody told you, you got your intel?
You checked the box.
I could be home fishing, or I could be in a smaller city, making more money. But the challenge there for me was that I have a job to do, and I accepted that job, and I wasn't going to lay down and simply throw in the towel because things got tough. And I moved on to, every year I felt like, I don't know if I can do another one. And then the next year would come by, and the next year, but there were challenges every single time. But I realized at some point, those challenges made me stronger. And those challenges made our community stronger. And I tell people now that the critics and the ones who made things difficult were actually the ones who made me stronger and made me a better police chief. And I wouldn't change it, because when you start to build, when they say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, I think I believe in that more than I ever have. Because what I saw was during the toughest times in our city and during the toughest times in this profession, I saw a group of professionals come together and gel together because we knew we had to do this. And we knew that we were in it when it might have seemed like the whole world was against you. We came together and we continued to make our community safe. We continued to keep crime down and bring it down. Every single year, violent crime went down and continued to go down. And that was a lot of pride on my part, because the work that our men and women in blue did, even while they felt that they weren't supported, which we knew that there were plenty that did support, but when the message out there was that they weren't supported, they continued to work hard and continue to keep our community safe. And that's what made me proud. I tell people all the time that we are the best police department in the country. And that's because I get to go out and see the other agencies. I haven't seen another agency that I said, wow, I'd like to leave Charlotte and go work there. It's just not out there. And it's kind of difficult, because I try to convince my people that, hey, we have a lot of respect across the country. And unless you get out there across the country and see that, it's hard to realize that. But we have so much respect for our police department. We have other agencies that are asking us to come tell them how they do it. Other agencies that are wanting to come to Charlotte and see how we do things. We've had so many visits from agencies around the world. Seems like there's always somebody from another country that's come to Charlotte to see how we do things. So take pride in the police department that you have in our city. I've always said too that we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes, but judge us more by how we respond to those mistakes and what we do after that. So do I keep talking, or do I have more time, or what?
So you have more time, but if you'd like to go to questions, we can do that.
Well, let me just finish up then. I'll just continue with, so here I am today, having served over 33 and a half years with the city of Charlotte, Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department. I joined as the Charlotte Police Department. I'm the last Charlotte Police Department officer still on the force. And then you had what was called, we joined in with the Mecklenburg County Police Department. I see Ricky Robbins sitting over there. He was with Mecklenburg County. He wanted so bad to come to Charlotte, so he said, let's just merge. So we ended up merging back in the mid-90s, so now we're Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department, but there's only a few of us left. I'm with the city. Ricky's still with us as a hire back. He retired a long time ago. Now he's double dipping, but for a little while longer, right? So he's, but anyway, it's just, there's that sense of pride that we have within our police department. So as I get ready to start that next chapter, I feel I'm at so much peace right now that it's even hard to explain. And I told my wife's probably getting sick of me, because I wake up in the morning, I'm singing, and I'm all happy, and she's still going to work too, and it's like, but I said, if this is how life is supposed to feel, then I'm ready. You know, if this is how you're supposed to feel without the stress, because once you hit a certain level in this agency, I think Richard can tell you, there's so much on your shoulders, so much stress, you never put it down. You never. I could be in another country and I still can't put it down. You devote yourself and your entire life to this job, and you sacrifice so much. You sacrifice things with family, but you know that's what you got into it for. And your family builds that strong foundation for you that they allow you to do that. I can't, my kids and my wife have been fantastic. When the many times that I've missed sporting events, the times that I've had to get up from the dinner table because I had to leave and come into work because something had just happened. The phone calls in the middle of the night over and over again, those are still happening, by the way. So I got a few more weeks of those happening, but it's just one of those things that you know you devote yourself to, and you know what you signed up for. So there's no sense in complaining about it, but you have to move forward and continue to balance that somehow. But when I talk about the piece that I think sometimes people have told me before, that there's so much weight on your shoulders that you don't even realize it. You're just going and going and going. And to be honest with you, there are times you don't even have time to think about what you're going through. You pause and you step back and you realize that, wow, I have to slow down. I have to take some time to myself, and I have to have a life outside of being a police officer. I tell my people all the time, if all you have is being a police officer, all your friends are police officers, when you hang out with police officers, you need to expand that a little bit. You need to do something outside of that, because we see and do things that normal human beings aren't supposed to see and do and be involved in. But when you can't get away from that, if all you're talking about and dealing with is police work and what you did that day, sometimes you got to drop it and set it down. I saw a few weeks ago when we had an officer-involved shooting, and this gentleman had just shot and killed 2 people, and our officers found him. He kidnapped a lady and had her in the vehicle, just to watch, we had much of it on video, to watch our officers in action just reinforced why I do this job. And it reinforced why I've been the chief for 5.5 years. Because the first thing I thought of, and Ricky was with me when we were watching the video, and you see a guy shooting at our officers, hitting our cars, officers jumping back in the car to avoid getting shot. The guy runs, and our officers chase him. And I said, who chases somebody who's shooting at you? And I said, police officers do. Police officers. And to be able to keep the people safe that are around and involved in that was just heroic to me. And even though I had already announced I'm retiring, I looked at it and I said, that's why I do this. That's why I get up every day. Because we put so much on the line, and I couldn't be more proud of our agency. And that's just one story of many in my 33.5 years. So it's just been such a great career, but I'm ready. I don't have any regrets. I don't ever look back and say, you're not going to hear me say, I can't wait to get out of here, or I can't wait to be done, or anything like that. What you'll hear me say is, I gave it everything I had. And I know that it's time, and I know that I'm at peace with the decision to move on and start the next chapter, and I'm excited about it. So we have Stella Patterson coming back to Charlotte. Stella was my deputy chief, and I remember she and I were talking about her wanting to put in for the Raleigh Police Department, the Raleigh Chief's job, and I encouraged her to do so. And she eventually decided she was going to put in and ended up getting the job. I don't think it was even close, but after she retired from Raleigh, and then I announced that I would be retiring. Stella's going to be coming back to Charlotte to be our next police chief, and also another sense of pride with me that, hey, this is somebody that's an internal person who left, as the city manager said, we loaned her to Raleigh for a few years. So now that she's coming back, we're going to be in really good hands. So proud of that as well. But I'm going to shut up and answer some questions, but just know that I've been so proud to be your police chief for the last 5.5 years, and even more proud to have served our great city and county for the last 33.5. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Now, Chief Jennings is still a young and vibrant man, so we'll see if he'll engage that triple dip and explore that postal career that he was talking about earlier. We'll get that unassuming job at the post office for another 20 and just keep racking up retirement. Our first question comes from Dr. Blanche Penn.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good evening and good night. Dr. Blanche Penn here. Chief Jennings, thank you so much for being a part of the our new organization that we had back in the day, and we still do it with No Limit Larry, United Council for Change, where you walk the street with us, and I really thank you for that. And also just learning about the academy that we went through, as far as learning what all you police officers do, the work that you do. It was a wonderful class to go through. But my question is for you, is what would you leave for the new chief to keep being involved with organizations like our grassroots organization, because that's very important, other than just all these other grassroots.
Yeah, certainly. So I've been asked that question before. One thing that I'm excited about is Stella Patterson was a very community-rich leader within our organization when she left. She's maintained those relationships, and she brought that same concept as the police chief in Raleigh. So I don't have people are saying, well, yeah, I can take her around and introduce her to some of the community leaders and people groups that I've been involved in. But I said she could probably take me around and introduce me to people. So I'm excited about that she's going to continue that. I can promise you that when it comes to partnerships and relationships, that she is not going to fall short of that, and she's going to be open to engage with any of the any community leaders and community groups and organizations. So she'll definitely have that in place.
All right, we now have Gary.
What's going on, Chief? How you feeling? All right, it's good to see you, man. Definitely sad to see you go. Gary Young, very convoluted question in what I asked, but would love to get your perspective as we're about to. One of the major issues that is near and dear to me, having a 15-year-old daughter, is teen violence and what's going on in the epidemic in our community on that front. Again, convoluted question, but from your lens, what do you think is the most effective way to tackle this particular issue and start to curb that problem from your stance?
Yeah, great question. If you've heard me speak, a lot of times it's been dealing with our young people today. And it scares me, because what I've seen and what I've been jumping around in is the accountability end of our young people when they get in trouble and they do something that's taking them down the wrong path. And it starts with the family. It starts with the family, and when I say family, not just immediate family, the entire community. And then at the same time, when we have to have something that holds them accountable for their actions, whether that's, I've talked about a juvenile detention center in Mecklenburg County. We're the largest county in the whole state. We don't have a juvenile detention facility, but it also doesn't mean that I'm saying put the kids and lock them up. I'm saying put them in a place where they can get programs and have an organization so that they can steer their lives in the right direction. And so we have to be able to do that. But there's so many kids that are not held accountable for their actions. They'll we'll arrest a juvenile for 100 car break-ins. And we simply, when we say arrest them, that means we take them to their parents or their guardians and we give them right back and put them right back in the same environment with no accountability until they go to court. So I want to be able to change that, and hopefully that's going to be something we'll see in the future. I know there's some talks about a juvenile detention facility in Mecklenburg County, reopening ours here, and so hopefully that'll be something that that we look at. That's actually the platform for Ricky Robbins, who's running for sheriff now too. So, but I know there's some talks that we're going to look at opening one up, hopefully.
I have a question from Cedric.
Good morning. Thank you. Good morning. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Let me make a couple comments before my question. In 2016, I relocated back to Charlotte, came to the Hope Harvest Community Church, and ran into you there. We had a great conversation. You were a major at that time. You gave me this card.
Yes.
I've also followed you since then. I worked for the Hornets when they honored you. You walked right past me to receive your honor. I was glad to see you then. My question is, I now have a mentoring program at West Charlotte High School. Now that you're free on Friday.
When I retire, nothing's free.
I'm not done. I'm not done. Now that you're free on Friday, come anytime.
I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. He held on to the card.
I don't even have one of those cards anymore. So that's
major,
awesome.
man. And it's still white.
Yeah, get that around. I look up to you. Thank you. That's very nice.
All right, we got a question from Rob.
Good morning, I'm over here. Keep the back.
Oh.
Robert Collins with Great Thoughts. My question is this. What area do you feel that you did not have the most success in and would like to see Stella put energy into to make a advancement?
Yeah, that's an easy, quick one for me. It's staffing. No matter how hard we worked, we really tried to get our staffing levels up, because even when Kurt Putney was here as the chief, we added about 100 new positions. So when you hear of the vacancies that we have, that you add 100 to those that we were given but never filled, and we couldn't ask for more because we couldn't fill the ones that we had. And then after 2020, we started seeing less and less people applying and wanting to be police officers. Regardless of what you might hear, we didn't have a mass exodus like other cities saw with their police departments. We average about 40-something people leaving a year voluntarily outside of retirements and anything like that. During that time, we went up to about 70-something for a few years, and now we're really back to where we were, if not better. So, but the problem was in the early 90s, we hired a whole lot of police officers with the COPS grant, and I think we had about 125 new officers, and I was actually one of those. And there were people lined up out the door to apply to become police officers. And when all of those officers were starting to retire in around 2020, 2021, they were leaving during a very delicate time in law enforcement. So we didn't have a line of people out the door to fill those spots. And that's what made it difficult. So if I could go back and snap a finger and do one thing, it would be not only to be able to fill those positions that were vacant, but also to continue hiring, because we should have about 2,400 or 2,500 sworn police officers in Charlotte, Mecklenburg.
All right, Ms. Kim.
Hi, very nice to meet you.
You too.
I heard your speech earlier, and I can feel your passion, how much you love being a police, chief of police. And my question for you is that, Chief Jennings, since most of our city's leadership represents only one party, do you have any concern that this affects how we respond to rising crime rates And would you consider revising your decision not to support funding for the bulletproof vest for officers? And then another question is, when I elected as mayor, if I ask you to come back, and then you will.
Only get one. Only get one. We'll put you back on the list. Wait a minute, I want to confirm that the answer I give, she has to accept it, right? Yeah. It is what it is. You know, I stay away from the political end of it. You know, we, as police and law enforcement, we have to remain bipartisan, neutral, because our job does not deal with the political pieces that are put in place, but we will work with anyone that's in political office to make our department better and to make our city safer. So, you know, I've always had a great relationship. Now I can say this now because I'm leaving, but since 2020, there's been nothing that I have asked our city council for that they've said no, right? So, and I didn't want to tell them that because they eventually said, well, we got to say no to something. So, but we would, everything that I brought over there, they trusted me that if I say we need it, then they gave it to us. And I'm very proud of that now that I look back, because it allowed us to continue moving forward during the most challenging times in law enforcement. So,
Ms. Jackie.
Jackie Walton. First of all, we did not have the gentleman over there by the piano to introduce himself. So if we could circle back around later on for that.
Oh, he thought he got out clean.
Okay. Well, you know, we know who comes. Chief, I wanted to ask you, you indicated that you're at peace. And that's evident. But what steps did you take to get to this peaceful place? And all of this is around, you know, mental health.
yes. Yeah, that's a great question. People are telling me, I don't even realize it, but they're saying, man, you're smiling a lot more. You know, you can just tell. And I said this to somebody the other day. It's almost like there were phases or steps. You know, when I announced that I was retiring, it was like a little bit of weight came off, and I felt really good when I announced. And then when they started the process for the next chief, a little bit more came off of me, and I felt, wow, this is getting real. When they announced the next chief, it just got to a whole nother level to where I felt like finally, you know, hey, job well done. You know, and I felt like now we're trying to transition past the torch. I talk to Stella about every single day, maybe twice a day. And I'm really feeling that. And I told her, her concern was, I don't want to step on toes and start making decisions too early or saying things too early. I said, Stella, as far as I'm concerned, when they announced that you're going to be the next chief, it's your department. I'll hold it down. But as you're going to be coming in December 1st, she's coming in a few weeks, and she has a right to have things ready to go when she gets here. And that's my role right now. I want her to have the smoothest transition ever, that she comes in and it's like she never left. And so I'm trying to make sure that happens, but that's really when it hit me that, okay, this is done. I'm transitioning now and I'm passing the torch, and that's my role right now, and it feels really good. So, great question.
Mr. Lilly.
Okay, good morning, Chief.
Good morning.
Dr. Lilly. We the people, we are great critics. We criticize all of our politicians, things that you all do, decisions you made.
Yeah.
If you were to separate yourself from where you're sitting now and that part comes over here, and you had to look back at yourself, are there any decisions or directives that you made that you would criticize yourself about?
Wow. Good question. You know, it's hard. I think that when I made decisions and one, I never felt like I made them in a vacuum. I have a great team around me that we have and we discuss things. So let's say a lot of times, there are many times that I would want to go one way, but we talk things through and I would see the other side of it. So I never felt like it was a dictatorship within CMPD. However, I might have to get back with you. I can't really look at, I don't go back and think that, wow, if I had to do over again, I would do X instead of Y. Because you don't know, it's just so hard to say that, because what if that would have went another direction too? So it's easy to Monday morning quarterback, but you don't ever know what another decision, what results that would have held out to. But yeah, I don't think I want to ever live like that, because even when I talked earlier about always being the best that you can be, then you'll never have any regrets. That's kind of like how I felt approaching this job as a police department. I don't have any regrets because I always put the utmost thought in everything that I wanted to do and have done. So I can Monday morning quarterback myself, but I'm not going to do that either. So
Sound like you give yourself an A.
Well, that's not for me. I don't grade myself. So, but no, I appreciate that. That's a great question. I just a difficult one to answer. So thank you.
We got a question from one of our young captains. Please say your name before you get into your question.
Caleb. I'm just go without it.
No. We need to screen. We got rules here.
Is it good right here?
Absolutely.
Okay. Caleb Steele from UNC Charlotte. So what are some things you would like to see differently moving forward within the police department, and how can the younger generation support?
Wow, the younger generation support. One is to join us, right? I mean, we want to, and we talk about critics all the time. About you mentioned how people can be critical. Well, that's easy. That to me, that's the lazy way to do things. I can sit and well, heck, I criticize the Panthers all the time, but I would not be able to be their coach. I would not be able to play or anything like that. But it's an easy thing to do. But in this situation, with people, we need people to join to make us better. People to have those thoughts that, hey, there's room for improvement here, and to come in with positive attitudes and say, and rather than complain about the problem, I'm going to be a part of the solution. And that's not just with policing, that's with the community. You want to complain about crime, and I hear people talk about, crime's terrible in our neighborhood. Police, I don't ever see a police officer or wearing a police, and my response is, well, what exactly are you doing too? You can't expect the police officer to be on every single corner and to deal with every single criminal activity that's out there. So we all have to come together, and I think we've seen a lot of that since 2020, that responsibility is not simply put on police to resolve the crime issues. There are so many stakeholders involved, and I'm starting to see a lot of them come to the surface now. And that gives me a lot of pride and a lot of joy for the future of our department in our city.
Chief Jennings, thanks for your service.
Thank you.
If you want someone to join the police department, what's the starting pay?
So our starting pay is, I believe it's around $59,000 right now. But you also get a pay increase when you graduate the academy. So within 6 months, you're gonna get a bump up into the 60s. And then we have pay scales that a lot of talk about our pay that's been out there, but the truth of the matter is, in Charlotte, you're gonna go up to I think the top out pay is about $105,000. And then if you get promoted, how much do you guys make back there? I'm kidding. We get paid. But you top out, this is with incentives and everything, you top out at $105,000. But I say that it's more than just that. The opportunities that you have in Charlotte, because we're the 17th largest police department in the entire country. I believe we're the 14th largest city in the country. Or if not already, we will be. But the opportunities here to whether you want career development to be a detective, if you want to get promoted, if you want to do specialized assignments and also the entertainment and off-duty work that we have in Charlotte, you can't match that with any other department in the city. And so there, just the experience you're going to have here, if you want to be a police officer, the experience you're going to have here in Charlotte is second to none. And so I'll always tout that we're the best choice. So starting pay is one thing, opportunities and ending pay is what I want to look at. So, yeah, so it's a great career, and I look back and glad that I made that choice to stick around.
Mr. King Coons.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
First of all, Mr. Levy, there's something about that seat that asks you questions. I just want you to know that. And South Park, my son, she left, but I just want to let her know that the crime rate is declining. She can take that back to South Park. I'm sorry I'm late, but my question is, what y'all talking about? Seriously, Chief, you're moving back to Mecklenburg County? Is that it? Is it
What's that?
You're going to stay in Charlotte, Mecklenburg?
Oh, yes, my plan, look, I'll never say never, but I tell people it's gonna take a whole lot to get me to move. And then even then, I may not move, I may temporarily go somewhere and come back. But no, my plan is to stay right where I am, love where I am right now and love this city and this county, and I don't have any intent to leave it.
All right, so I have a question. In my day job, I run Applesauce Group, and it is a nonprofit where we throw community festivals, large-scale community festivals. And one of the challenges that I've had to face is not enough officers to hire part-time officers to do security for those things, because we do, there are not as many officers, and more are retiring.
Yes.
What would be a solution to mitigate that desire to have things for your city, while also, having a safe space? Is there room to have officers that can be initiated into service, maybe for that specific realm of service, or is it all in?
That's a challenge, because you think we talk about the staffing levels and the challenge it is simply to have your radio response officers, your detectives, to have everybody doing their job out there. But then you see Charlotte is so robust in special events. And we have so many special events, off-duty jobs for security. We cannot fill them all. And back when I was an officer, I used to work off-duty for $12 an hour. I think Ricky worked them for, $6 an hour. So, but I used to work, and I felt guilty if I wasn't working. I would work a second shift, and I said, well, I have to find a job that I'm doing something in the morning so that I can make more money. And so if I'm sitting at home watching The Price is Right, I felt guilty, because I felt like I wanted to be out there. It's a different era now. I see jobs going out $100 an hour, and they're asking officers. We're trying to ask officers to work them. Officers are more inclined now, our younger generation, they want their time, which is a good thing for mental health purposes, but they want to do things with their families and to be at home a lot. And you heard me talk about the weight that was on my shoulders for working all the time. But the best answer to that is there's kind of a sweet spot financially that will get an officer to come out from their home and say, I'll work this job. And so we have a minimum off-duty pay of, I think it's $46 an hour. But it's hard to even say that, knowing that I used to work for $12 an hour, that you say, well, 46 isn't enough to get me out of the house. So that's really it's a good thing because it gives an opportunity for our officers to make even more money. But at the same time, I know it can be a financial strain for smaller organizations that don't want to pay that amount of money for security. So.
That sweet spot is typically about $50. For a captain, 60, 65. And that's if you have a relationship. This is Darnell.
Good morning. My name is Darnell Ivory. I may need you to help me to frame this question. But about 2 o'clock in the morning the other day, my dog gave out a robust bark. I looked at my Ring camera. There was a young man hurtling over my fence, checking my car door, another guy running down the street, a car with them, checking all the car doors on the street. Yeah. I called 911 to report it, of course, but they moved so fast and was so quick that by the time the police came, they were gone. Yeah. But my question is, and help me here, how does law enforcement prioritize the urgency of a 911 call when it's put through, not to ignore it, but to determine the time frame in which they might come? Yeah. And then are there any special restrictions or requirements in taking that 911 call, determining the urgency of the call?
Yeah. So we have what we call priority calls, and it's priority 1 through 5. That call right there should have been a priority 1 because the suspects were still on the scene. If you call and you're reporting a crime and the suspect's there, we want to do an immediate response. And if you call and say for example, hey, my car was broken into last night, I need a report. There's options to do that over the phone, but also that's not going to be a priority 1. That's going to be probably a priority 5, which could take longer to get an officer there, depending on how busy we are. So if there's someone injured, if there's a suspect still on the scene, different things that our dispatchers will kind of weigh out and make it a priority 1 through 5, and that determines when they're dispatched and when they get there. So listen, if you have a call for service and the officer say it's an hour and they don't get there for an hour, don't be upset with the officer because the officer's coming when they're dispatched. Sometimes those calls will hold because you might have priority 1s ahead of those calls. And just coming in this morning, I saw a vehicle accident, and it required 3 cars to be at that vehicle. It was a pretty serious accident. It required 3 cars to be there. And imagine those cars, say they're there for an hour. They're off the streets. They can't respond to a call like you're talking about. And that's what's hard to get people to understand, that it's not like officers are just riding around not taking calls or not answering calls. They are going from call to call to call to call all throughout their shift. And sometimes some things are out of our control. If you have a vehicle accident on the interstate, or if you have an armed robbery where 6 police cars are involved in having to do the report and talk to witnesses and all of that. So it's difficult to manage the amount of people, but that's kind of how we prioritize it. It's a lot of discretion on the dispatchers and 911 operators.
All right, we have Tanya Jameson.
Hey, Tanya, I didn't see you there.
Yeah, I kind of slid.
Okay. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Fine.
I just wanted to thank you as former chair of Citizens Review Board. Although you did not ever overturn any of the decisions that we recommended, I will say, though, we did have a good working relationship, and you were willing to put in place some of the recommendations that we did make. Yes. So I just want the general public to know that although the chief is not necessarily overturning decisions, they are taking the recommendations that we make seriously, the concerns that we bring up, and I hope that the current review board and the new chief have that same relationship as well. So,
I do too. That was important to us because, we changed a lot. Citizens, you all were very demanding, so, but we did. It helped us get better. That's why I say the criticism makes us better. Not necessarily criticism as much as recommendations, but I never wanted to take the recommendations from the Citizens Review Board and say, okay, noted, and just kind of push it off to the side. I wanted to make sure we had an answer to every single concern that they had in a response to it, and I hope we did that, so.
Yeah, you did. And I just want to say, Brittany, the current chair, is here, and she echoes my sentiments as well.
Oh, thank you, yes, thank you for being here.
All right, we have,
oh, feel free to give Stella Patterson a hard time too.
I will.
Yeah.
Brittany, you didn't introduce yourself.
Do we need to cut the answer down to a minute?
Oh, I didn't see the time. Yeah, so please, 15-second questions, 30-second responses if we can. Keep it as close to that as we can. Representative Majid.
He's using his 15 minutes.
Okay. Chief.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for your service and all you've done. Charlotte, I think you came in 1991, is that correct?
92.
92.
May of 92.
92. And I guess at that time, you were just trying to make it to graduation.
Yes.
But my question is, at what time did you begin to think about, oh, I want to be chief? As an aspiration, I mean, as you said, as a goal. Did you have it when you first came in, or where along the line did the light come on?
Yeah, so that's great. And one, I want to thank you always for your support. You've been around a long time with me and always been supportive, so I appreciate that. But yeah, I never wanted, when I joined, I mentioned earlier, I wanted to be a captain. If I could do that and retire as a captain. Even as a deputy chief, I would say I would never be a police chief. I just see what they go through and you know, the stress of it when I already felt like I had enough stress in my life. But as I started to realize that people wanted me to take the lead, then I started to feel it like, wow, if they want me, then I really think I want to do this. And that's really when it sparked, probably as a deputy chief, that's when it sparked that I think I could do it. I want to be a police chief. So, yeah.
All right, Ms. Nancy.
Thank you so much, Chief Jennings.
Hey, thank you.
You are so special to all of us, and we recognize your commitment to Charlotte.
Thank you.
Make me tear up.
Yes.
What would you recommend to our incoming chief, whom I cherish as well, to say to city council to get them to get their constituents to join you and your forces to help make Charlotte better?
Yeah. You know, I think a lot of it is public support. I mean, I think we have to, on the political end of it, to be able to come forward regardless of what criticisms you might get, but to let people know that we're going to stand behind our police department, we're going to stand behind our police chief, and we're going to give everything that we can, because public safety has to be at the forefront of our city and our county. And you've heard me say this before, that you don't have the Carolina Panthers, you don't have Honeywell, you don't have Bank of America, Wells Fargo, you don't have all of that coming into Charlotte if you don't have a safe city. And I've talked to many CEOs who have come to Charlotte in lieu of other cities because of their support of the police department or their safety and things like that. You'd be surprised, and I'm surprised that CEOs will make a decision not to go to a city because their police department's not supported and that they don't have what they need. So that's what I would say, just public support. Thank you.
All right, we're going to close it out with the final three questions. We have Mr. Pfeiffer, Ms. Jackie, and Mr. Lilly.
Chief, could you go back to special duty, off duty? How is that run? If an entity wants to hire an officer for special duty or off duty, do you run it through the department, or does that officer work directly with the requesting entity?
Yeah, we have an actual unit that handles the off-duty unit that handles all the coordination of that, and then they put it in the system, and then there's a whole process to make sure that the officers are paid, but it's all coordinated through our off-duty system. So,
thank you.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Jackie.
question goes back to mental health again. Can you talk a little about how mental health has become such a big issue today with persons in our community?
Yeah, it's a huge issue, not just with persons, even internally. I started an entire internal wellness bureau within the department after I became the chief, because it's such a huge topic that internally we can't take care of the public if we don't take care of ourselves. And then also we're dealing a lot more with mental health calls for service. That we've done a lot of things that's a 30-minute conversation, but sometimes I sit and wonder, I said, is it because we recognize it more, or because we're seeing more mental health issues? And I don't have the answer to that, but I do know we have to address it as an entire society and not look at it as a police response and a police issue, even though sometimes we are the first ones to have to deal with someone having a mental health crisis. That's why we have to train on how to respond to that too. So,
Mr. Lilly, close us out.
Close it out. Okay, I know that politicians, like county districts and stuff, I don't see the presence of them often. In my community, where is the decision made as to how often the officers will patrol the communities where their presence would just be seen as a deterrent?
Yeah, and I hear that all the time about not seeing police officers, and that's a difficult thing. You think about the 400 and some odd square miles that we have in Charlotte, and how difficult, and you have 19 or about 1,800 officers, 1,800 officers right now to spread around, and even less than that assigned to patrol. So it's really hard to say, oh, I'm going to walk out my door and I'm going to see an officer drive by. That's almost impossible in some situations, but we're out there, and what we look at are the maps. Like every car has a GPS on it. We can tell where they're patrolling. We can tell where they're doing zone checks, where they're doing the work and answering calls for service. So we have to make sure that we're spreading that out accordingly. You may not necessarily see them on your street, but they may have driven by, a few blocks away or something. So, but as we continue to build more officers and get more officers on the street, the primary focus is to get them in patrol for visibility, to get them in vehicles that you're seeing our cars drive around. We have a very robust take-home car plan for officers who live within the jurisdiction, so that they can drive those cars even when they're off duty, so that you'll see them around. And that's we have to do more of that. But a lot of work to do, but I really feel confident we're going to get there at the trajectory that we're on right now. So very promising.
Ladies and gentlemen. Well, yes, indeed. So, actually, this is the way I would like to do this. Actually, one more question that will go into your closing remarks. So we're going to put you in a time machine. You can go back to 1992 and have a conversation with two people. One is Chief Rick Jones of CMPD, who was the chief back then in 92. And it was
Ronnie Stone.
Ronnie Stone. You can have a conversation with Chief Stone, yes, and a 22-year-old young Johnny Jennings, yeah. Officer Johnny Jennings. What would you say to them about, you have all the context of now, what would you tell them to shape the future of what Charlotte could be and the idea of policing? And then from there, you can close us out.
All right, real simple. With Chief Ronnie Stone, it would be embrace the concept of community policing. We really hit the ground with Darrell Stevens when he came on as the police chief, but Ronnie Stone was great police chief, but old school. And back then it was just simply, we're going to respond to our calls for service, we're going to arrest the bad guys. The concept of community policing hadn't really struck yet. I would tell him to get in the forefront of it, be one of the first to do this concept and to get it going. So and that would be what I'd tell him. What I would tell my younger self was actually some advice that I got. don't touch your 401k. Best advice I ever got. Don't touch your 401k. Young guys, don't touch your 401ks, right? So because you said, but in all seriousness, it is, I would tell myself, don't limit yourself on your goals and set yourself up for the future, right? I look back now and I say, why would I have limited myself to think that I'm only worthy of being a captain in this agency? Don't look at what's in front of you and say, yeah, hey, just because I don't see people that look like me in those higher ranks doesn't mean I can't do it. So keep that fight going and always continue to strive for the best. I tell our young recruits now, as soon as you make sergeant, you got to start figuring out what is it going to take to make captain. As soon as you make captain, then what do I have to do to make major? Lieutenant and then captain and then major. So always look at that if that's what you want to do. But also say there's absolutely, sometimes as a captain, I'd be in the office jealous when our first shift officers were coming in at 2 o'clock, 2:30, and they're going home for the day. I said, man, that would be great. So I said, some people, their desire is to be a patrol officer their entire career. And I love that and I admire that if that's what you want to do. So, but in closing, it has been, to me, the biggest honor that I could even ask for to serve in this community. And I'm going to miss it. I'm not anxious to get out, but I am anxious to start another chapter. I will miss it, but I will not, I don't have any thoughts that, oh, I wish I would stay in or anything like that. I know it's time, and I'm excited to pass that torch on. So I appreciate everyone in this room, and I appreciate our entire community. And just remember that the police department can't do it by ourselves. We have to, as a community, always support our police department and men and women that are out there saving lives, and be proud of what we have here in Charlotte-Mecklenburg.
Ladies and gentlemen, please round of applause for CMPD Chief Johnny Jennings. We will now go into announcements. I'm gonna tell you, you still look like you got a sub 540 in you. And if those football aspirations are still So here with your announcement, Jay Hill.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jay Hill. A couple of announcements. Tomorrow, we are having Beyond the Mixer at Eventual Federal Credit Union in Pineville, off County Matthews Road. So if you want to come out to that, it's a little variation of the Power Mixer, so we'd love to have you out for that. Big thing that I want to talk about is this Saturday, from 10 to noon, we are having So Fresh and So Cleanup Day, a corridor-wide cleanup. So Albemarle Road, there's 4 locations, Bays Ford Road, West Boulevard, North Graham Street, like 8 locations. So if you want to help clean up the city of Charlotte, please come through. And the last thing is the Power Mixer is coming back on December 3rd at Hope Haven, the Forum at Hope Haven, and it'll be a holiday party. So you can go to thepowermixer.cot.com for more information. Thank you.
All right, we have an announcement from Mr. Pride Patton and Miss Jackie Edwards Walton. Ms. Gerald, I do that every time. And said, okay, we got a lot of announcements. Oh, everybody.
Hey, I would just like to follow up what Mr. J. Hill said about the So Fresh So Cleanup Day. And it says the benefit from him, he started the initiative. It's spreading throughout all the corridors of opportunity in Charlotte. We do have 4 locations on Albemarle Road, so if you haven't signed up, I have a flyer with a QR code, particularly our young men from UNCC talking about civic engagement. We can get the campus out to support us. That would be a great look for the community. But we have opportunities throughout all the corridors, so thank you, Mr. Hill, for initiating this.
Shout out to Jay Hill. Shout out to Brain Script. All right, Miss Jackie.
I'd like to thank Terry Bradley. Today is his day off. The city and the county are closed.
That is right.
And he came in to open this building so that we could have the Sarah Street.
Come on now. You want to tell you though. He's going to let you know he off. Don't ask me too many questions. That hoodie is an indicator. Wait a minute, hold on. Keep conversations to a minute.
And next week, we will have Sheriff Gary McFadden as the speaker.
And a month of heavy hitters going into the Christmas party. I'm gonna go ahead with an announcement. Tomorrow, y'all, this is important to me, on November 12th at Johnson C. Smith in the Smith Tech Innovation Center, room 322. It is a public meeting for the expansion of I-77. Once again, they want to take our community with highways. So again, that is, y'all know how much I love my West Side and my McCrory Heights. The public meeting is tomorrow. We ask people to show up around 5:45. The meeting begins at 6. Again, that is Johnson C. Smith Tech Innovation Center, room 322. Please show your support for the Charlotte neighborhoods and community and keeping that sanctity alive.
Is that
All right.
6 o'clock? Is that 6 o'clock at Johnson C. Smith?
Yes, sir. At Johnson C. Smith in the Smith Tech Innovation Center. If you ask security when you come in, that's where you're going, they'll give you parking directions. Cedric.
Hello, this Saturday at 12 o'clock, West Charlotte High School, we're doing an art auction. We have WBTV's Kim Anderson speaking. We're trying to build a community that kind of relates to mental health by teaching kids and talking to them about art, trying to put their art out in the community to show them that they have a gift that they need to use. Last night, I'm getting calls from parents who want to add their children to the program. It's growing. We need your support. This Saturday, 12 o'clock, Omni at West Charlotte High School. But you can get in touch with me at any time. I have my business card. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rob Hillman.
Good morning. Rob Hillman, CEO, Queen City Robotics Alliance. Came here a couple weeks ago to talk about a couple of events. One was this past on the 1st at the Pearl. It was an awesome event. It was a STEM fest. The kids got engaged and involved in driving robots, looking at 3D bodies and all sorts of stuff. I say that to say my goal and objective is to get more folks that look like us engaged, involved in STEM through competitive robotics. And I have a fundraiser on Thursday at No Doubt Brewing Company and would like you all to come out. And if you can't make it out, your dollars can make it out too. So,
Thank you, Mr. Hillman. Mr. Kuntz and our young cappers. Three more. Crank them out. We got crank them out. Gary, go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, I didn't have much of an announcement, more so than just a notice. Please come out to support. We always talk about healthy alternatives over on the west side. 2020 Batesville Road, the juice box has been open for a few months now. But please come out and support your local businesses. They only sustain when you come and support. Thank you.
Shout out, Kim. All right, Mr. Kuntz.
It's been 56 years coming, but we finally made it. We won another championship with CIAA Southern Division. All these great things going on Saturday. Sorry, Charlie, I ain't gonna be there because I'm gonna be in Durham, and I invite those of you who can go to Durham and cheer for the Golden Bulls for their first CIAA championship since their original first one in 1969, before y'all were born. So please plan to cheer us on. If you can't, watch.
Oh, yeah, this is the year my beloved Winston-Salem State University Rams will not represent the CIAA in the championship. Go ahead, Tanya. Go ahead.
Just a quick correction. The meeting tomorrow is at 4 at JCSU. It's 4 to 7.
4 to 7.
It's 4 to 7 at JCSU, and then on Thursday it's also 4 to 7 at Silvermount Moriah Baptist Church, going down Nation Sport Road area. So,
Thank you so much, Tanya. Thank you. Ooh, that's a long time before this. Give me a 6.
Okay. So our chapter, I forgot to mention this. Our chapter is holding a SNAP initiative food drive. I don't know what's been going on with the SNAP. We're having a food drive throughout the whole month, and we're collecting donations, and we're all in-person donations. We're also collecting monetary donations for our food drive. And you can either connect with one of us if you want to donate, or on Facebook at Zeta Delta chapter of Cowboy Fraternity Incorporated, or on Instagram at ZD News. We're having it all month, and we're hoping to donate to our local food bank, Jamil Diner Pantry, and then also donate to one of the local food banks in the area as well.
All right, Jazz.
was just curious if there were any corridor organizers. November 24th, the city will be voting on the Charlotte area plan. So I just want to make sure the folks who are leading those corridors, go ahead and look at those plans that they got situated and see if they work for you all. If they don't, be ready to take it to your city council on the 24th.
All right, right in the corner. Gas. No, he has an introduction. And we will say, yeah. That's pressure. He doesn't want to go, but we're going to make him go.
Hey, y'all. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah.
We got a screaming audience.
There we go.
All right, there we go.
Okay, first off, Stankonia came out 25 years ago last week. So all this so fresh, so clean this morning really made me feel old. Second, the North Carolina Local News Lab is hosting a screening with Charles M. Blow on Monday at the Independent Picture House at 6 p.m. Every regular attendee of the Tuesday Morning Breakfast Forum is invited. I've seen many of you already on the sign-up list. We'd love to have you. Love to have you too, Chief Jennings. And if you haven't seen the notice, it is on the front page of the Sarah Stevenson Tuesday Forum website.
Shout out Outkast, 25 years inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Hey, good morning. My name is Brad Koch, major here at CMPD, executive officer for Chief Jennings, likely the executive officer, at least for the start, for Chief Patterson as well. So I make sure that Chief Jennings is where he needs to be, and I'll do the same for Chief Patterson. Thank you for hosting us today. Appreciate it.
We just made Major Cox do his Easter speech. Thank you for indulging us. One more. Come on, Z.
I was forced to introduce myself. I'm Brittany Kosciuszko-Lee. I am not new to community, but I am new here, coming here, and I really appreciate it. I am the chair for the Citizens Review Board, for those of you who don't know. We definitely work behind the scenes, but we review any kind of complaints against the police officers. So really appreciate the work that we've done. I've been on there for 5 years, so I do appreciate all the work you've done, Jennings.
Thank you so much for your service, Brittany. All right, y'all, so listen. Until the Christmas party, we're closing out the year, all heavy hitters. Next week, Sheriff Gary McFadden. The week after that, on 25th, CMS Superintendent Dr. Crystal Hill. 12/2, Mayor Vi Lyles. 12/9, Executive Director Delvin McNeil for Arts on the Plaza. And 12/16, the Christmas party. It's lit. So thank you all so much for coming. Hope to see you next week. And have your questions ready. This is when I say Dr. Thomas plays out, but Dr. Thomas isn't here. So talk amongst yourselves. Thank you for coming to another Sarah Stevenson Tuesday Morning Forum.
Thank you. Good job. Enjoy your retirement. I came home 3 years ago, and there ain't nothing like morning like this. Better and better. How you doing? How you doing, sir? It's been a long time, man. I have to go with him. I'm a gentleman new to the city. And I'm bringing it to you. And we had a conversation. I really appreciate it. And then when you come up, honored, I was standing under the back of all the time. Our first day that I got a chance to be around, I appreciate all the leadership and watching the balcony. There's a lot of great kids here, and I'm about to create this article for them.
Appreciate you.